All right, boys and girls, so we are going to start a read aloud, and I'm going to read you a chapter, and every day I'll post it. But this book is kind of different because you could listen to any of the stories at any time. This book is called, here I'll show you, Incredible Animal Adventures. And it tells the story of different animals and the adventures that they went on. And this is a true book. So these stories are like biographies, we could say. A biography about an animal that did something amazing. And I just have the picture up here because there's not really any pictures in the book. So you could draw, you could color, you could just look at the cool quilt that we have up there while you're listening to some awesome animal stories. The first story is about Balto, brave sled dog. Balto, a half-wolf, half-malamute sled dog, trotted head down in the darkness of a stinging blizzard. Behind him, his 10 teammates kept pace as he guided them into Nome, Alaska, and down a deserted street to the hospital. "Halt!" Musher Gunner Casson croaked through ice-burned lips. Balto dropped into the deep snow at the door of the hospital. Casson sank to his knees beside him. With tears welling from his near-blinded eyes, hands shaking from exhaustion, he pulled sharp chunks of ice from Balto's bleeding paws. "Balto," Casson whispered into his neck fur, "what a fine dog." It was 5 a.m. on February 2nd, 1925. Balto had saved lives. The people of Nome were stricken with diphtheria, a deadly disease. They were in desperate need of the serum that would stop the Black Death that was killing a person a day in the subarctic town. When the railroad train carrying the serum had become snowbound in Nenana 660 miles away and the planes could not take off, the U.S. Signal Corps sent out a call for dog teams. Mushers from miles around, including Gunner Casson, responded. Mushers are the men who drive sled dog teams. They knew the assignment was dangerous, but they brought their strongest and most intelligent dogs to the snowbound outposts along the route to Nome. At one post after another, a team would pull in, the serum would be passed on, and the other team would pull out. The relay ran day and night for 4 days. Then Charlie Olson, with his team of 7, pulled into Bluff, 67.5 miles from Nome, in a roaring blizzard. He handed Gunner Casson the serum and warned him about the winds and cold. At first, Casson decided to wait out the storm, but at 10 o'clock that night, the blizzard showed no signs of stopping or even letting up. Casson knew lives were at stake. He and his dogs took off into the ice. The next relay point was 34 miles away. As Balto led his team across the river, an 80-mile-an-hour wind struck like a railroad engine and lifted clouds of snow into the air. Neither the dogs nor Casson could see. But Balto never hesitated. He trotted on, following his own internal compass that guided him around drifts and out into ice-covered lagoons. Near the shore, Casson sensed trouble. "Ha!" he called. Obeying reluctantly, Balto ran to the left, off the trail, and splashed into an overflow of water. Wet feet meant crippled dogs. In desperation, Casson drove the team into soft snow to dry their paws and was instantly lost in whiteness. But Balto kept going. Picking his way and making intelligent decisions, he trotted on at a steady pace. Twice the sled overturned and the dogs tangled. Twice Casson righted the sled, straightened the traces, and let Balto lead the way. Fortunately, as they crossed Norton Sound, the wind got behind them. They covered the next 12.5 miles to port safety in 80 minutes. That's amazing. At the relay station, the lights were out. The musher and his team were asleep. Time would be lost waking them. 21 miles away, people were dying. Casson made a decision. His dogs were running well. "Hup, hup," he called, and Balto kept going. Along the seacoast, the snow stopped. Casson could see again. 2 of his dogs were stiffening up. The temperature was 36 degrees below zero. He stopped to quickly make rabbit-skin boots for the dogs and went on. At last, they pulled into Nome, exhausted but undaunted. The dog relay teams had completed in 5.5 days a trip that usually took the mail train more than 25 days. The next morning, Balto's name appeared on the front page of every major newspaper in the United States. He was praised on the floor of Congress. Invitations for personal appearances poured in. Balto and Casson toured from California to New York, stopping in big and little towns amid cheers and fanfare. Balto has not been forgotten. His statue, made by R.G. Roth, stands in New York City's Central Park. Under Balto's name are these words: dedicated to the indomitable spirit of the sled dogs that relayed antitoxin 660 miles over rough ice, across treacherous waters, through Arctic blizzards, from Nenana to the relief of stricken Nome in the winter of 1925. And that is the story of Balto. If you are interested, there's lots of things you can find on the internet about Balto, so ask your parents if you can learn more about it. And tomorrow, we are going to read about another critter who does something cool. Hope you like the story today, boys and girls.